Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 4th of September. Member nations condemn terrorism, pledge mutual cooperation at BRICS summit in China. Two Lashkar-e-Taiba militants killed in encounter in Indian Kashmir. An Afghan Air Force to receive $7 billion as aid from US, NATO. And now for all the details. The 9th edition of the annual BRICS summit began on Monday in Xiamen city of China. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for close cooperation among the member countries to spur mutual development goals. Member country leaders condemned terrorism in all its form and manifestations, wherever committed and by whomsoever.
The 9th annual BRICS summit began in the Chinese city of Xiamen on Monday with leaders of 5 member nations gathering for their first plenary session. Addressing the plenary session, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for closer cooperation among the BRICS member countries to spur growth, promote transparency and support the sustainable development goals.
India has also found that technology and digital resources are powerful tools in fighting poverty and corruption. A strong BRICS partnership on innovation and digital economy can help spur growth, promote transparency and support the sustainable development goals.
In a declaration, the BRICS member countries also called upon all nations to adopt a comprehensive approach in combating terrorism and blocking of terror financing sources. On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Modi also held bilateral meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Brazilian President Michel Temer. Later, during the BRICS Business Council meeting, Prime Minister Modi said that his government's programs, including Digital India, Make in India, were changing economic landscapes of India.
Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's third and major cabinet reshuffle took place on Sunday. This saw the change of portfolios of 32 ministers, induction of former top bureaucrats, and the most significant of them being the appointment of Nirmala Sitharaman as India's first full-fledged woman defence minister.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday inducted 9 new ministers into his cabinet. 9 new faces were sworn in by Indian President Ramnath Kovind at Rashtrapati Bhavan or Presidential Palace. Nirmala Sitharaman was elevated as India's first full-fledged woman defence minister. 3 other high-performing ministers were promoted to cabinet rank and former top bureaucrats including KJ Alphonse were inducted in a ministerial reshuffle. Piyush Goyal was made the new Railway Minister, Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and the Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi were also among those elevated to cabinet rank.
To me, it is a very overwhelming day. I just can't express my feelings. But that my party and that my Prime Minister has chosen to give this responsibility to me itself is a very big thing. I have to prove and have to perform to satisfy the goals which are expected of me.
Former Police Commissioner and diplomat Satyapal Singh, who also took the oath of office at the ceremony, said he would serve the nation with all honesty, hard work and dedication. This is the third mega cabinet rejig seen as part of a strategy to accelerate reforms and improve governance ahead of the 2019 general elections.
2 militants were killed in an encounter with security forces in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. The encounter took place during a cordon and search operation in the area.
Two Lashkar-e-Taiba militants were killed in an encounter with security forces in Sopore town of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. Acting on specific intelligence inputs about the presence of militants in a village in Sopore, security forces launched a cordon and search operation. While the forces were conducting the search operation, the militants fired upon them, forcing them to retaliate.
और हमने 1 बजे रात को सर्च शुरू की और हम टारगेट हाउस पे सुबह कोई 6 बजे के करीब पहुंचे, जहां हमने मिलिटेंट्स को ये बोला कि आप सरेंडर करो. इन स्पाइट ऑफ सरेंडरिंग दे फायर्ड ऑन द पुलिस पार्टी, रिजल्टिंग के उसमें एक एनकाउंटर शुरू हुआ और उस एनकाउंटर में 2 डेड बॉडीज हमने रिकवर किए हैं, 2 AK-47 राइफल्स रिकवर किए हैं.
Police also recovered 2 AK-47 and 1 INSAS rifle from the spot. This comes a day after the Pakistan Army resorted to unprovoked firing of small and heavy arms in several areas of Kupwara district in the province.
In news from Pakistan, former Pakistani President General Pervez has said that he will face the courts in the assassination case of a former Prime Minister's murder case. An anti-terrorism court had last week declared him an absconder in the case.
Former Pakistani President General Pervez Musharraf on Sunday said that he will face the courts in the Benazir Bhutto assassination case in Pakistan after his health improves. Bhutto, a former Pakistani Prime Minister, was assassinated when terrorists attacked her convoy during a public meeting on December 27, 2007. Pakistani anti-terrorism court last week acquitted 5 people, gave 17-year imprisonment to 2 police officials and declared Musharraf an absconder in the case. He was charged with conspiracy to murder in 2013, an accusation he denies. The court also ordered Musharraf's property in Pakistan be seized. In a statement issued by Musharraf's party All Pakistan Muslim League or APML Secretariat on Sunday, the former dictator said his legal team was looking into the issue of his property seizure.
Meanwhile, the multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan economic corridor is facing strong opposition from the local residents of Gilgit-Baltistan. They blame China and Pakistan for not sharing any economic benefits with them and have expressed fear that with Chinese companies venturing into the region, they could lose jobs and businesses.
Residents of Gilgit-Baltistan have always raised their voices and expressed their concern about the construction of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or CPEC. They say the multi-billion-dollar infrastructure project is an exploitation of the natural resources of the region by Pakistan and China. They now fear losing their jobs and businesses as Chinese companies venture into the region and their goods inundate the local market.
खदशा ये जाहिर कर रहे हैं कि शायद ये फ्यूचर में अगर चाइना के सारे प्रोडक्ट इधर आ जाएंगे और हमारे प्रोडक्ट अगर उसके बदले में हमारे प्रोडक्ट अगर नहीं जाएंगे मार्केट में तो हमारी जो लोकल प्रोडक्शन है उसके ऊपर एक नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट उसका पड़ सकता है.
The locals lament that China has started sending its goods into the region but does not allow any goods from Gilgit-Baltistan to be exported to China.
हमारा मुतालबा यही है कि गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान के अवाम का बल्कि मुतालबा ये है कि इसको दो तरफ़ा बनाया जाए. गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान के जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, यहाँ के जो मेवाजात हैं, फ्रूट्स हैं और मादनियात हैं, इनको भी चाइना ले जाया जाए और वहाँ पे जो है मार्केटिंग इनकी की जाए ताकि गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान का जो पैसा है न सिर्फ चाइना मुंतकिल हो बल्कि चाइना की जो रकम है वो गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान के अवाम तक भी.
Illegally occupied by Pakistan decades ago, Gilgit-Baltistan has become the most backward region under continued neglect by Islamabad and a corrupt administrative system.
Moving on to news from Afghanistan, the United States and the NATO alliance have decided to invest around $7 billion in the Afghan Air Force as part of their long-term support for the country. The investment aims to increase the capability of the Air Force over the next 4 years.
The United States and NATO alliance have decided to invest $7 billion over the next 4 years in the Afghan Air Force. This aid is a part of their commitment to provide military assistance to Afghanistan. General Philip A. Stewart, commander of NATO's Train, Advise, Assist Command or TAAC on Sunday said the investment is aimed at making the Afghan Air Force sustainable, capable and independent.
برای درست کردن نیروهای هوایی از صفر زمان زیادی در کار است. نیروهای هوایی افغانستان به گونه باور نکردنی با سرعت گسترش می‌یابند و این کار در شرایط جنگ انجام می‌شود. من فکر نکنم که در هیچ جای دنیا یک نیروی هوایی در شرایط جنگ از صفر درست شده باشد.
Under the new aid package, the number of aircraft owned by the Afghan Air Force will be doubled in the next 4 years. The move comes as the United States is preparing to up its troop count in Afghanistan, mostly to help advise Afghan security forces that are battling Taliban, Islamic State, and other Islamist insurgents.
Hundreds of people in India's northeastern Manipur province converged at Imphal Valley to become a part of traditional boat race festival. Celebrated every year, the festival observes prayers and marks a ceremony of boat race between communities.
Scores of people in India's northeastern Manipur province on Saturday celebrated Hikru Hidongba, a traditional boat race festival. Dressed in traditional attires, devotees started the celebrations by offering special prayers to the local deity. The celebrations were followed by a boat race between communities, which is the main highlight of the festival. This festival is celebrated every year on the 11th day of Manipuri calendar month Langban, coinciding with September.
This is my first time and I kind of enjoy it because this is a scene I have never seen it and I kind of like it.
Celebrated as a prayer to God for the welfare of the people and the country, the communities take part in the racing of the boats with pomp and spirit. The result of the boat race, which is being performed during the celebrations, is believed to decide whether the year will be good or bad for the community.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Member nations condemn terrorism, pledge mutual cooperation at BRICS summit in China. Two Lashkar-e-Taiba militants killed in encounter in Indian Kashmir. An Afghan Air Force to receive $7 billion as aid from US NATO. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. Well, that's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.